Hey everybody! Today I am here to discuss the books I read back in March. I read 5 books in March and I am trying to keep up with that kind of at least 2 or 3 a month. I really love 3 of them. 2 of them were just okay, like not anything bad or anything. So yeah, I'm excited to share them and talk about them. It was a very fun mix of books. I've been trying to read different genres and not just pigeonhole myself to one, like I feel like I did last year with romance, so then I can kind of just read a bunch of different ones and also not kind of get genre fatigue from reading like one after the other. So I feel like I definitely did that this month. You'll see just how different every book is. But starting off, I first read They Bloom at Night. So this actually goes against my whole spiel about trying to get through books that are on my TBR because this only came out in March. It was one of my most anticipated books of the year though, so I really wanted to check it out when it came out, and my gosh, was it so different than what I thought it was gonna be, but so good. It's scary, it's like vomit inducing in the descriptions and some things. The brief description is it takes place in Mercy, where this town has been overrun by this algae bloom, this red algae bloom that's just kind of mutating wildlife, killing a bunch of stuff, and a lot of people have left the town, but the people that are there are now bracing for another storm that they don't know exactly what is going to happen. So at the same time this is happening, people are also starting to just disappear in the middle of the night and no one knows what is happening to them. So our main character, Noon, her and her mom are staying in the town looking for her brother and father who disappeared with the initial first storm, but at the same time Noon is also dealing with this kind of itching feeling, this tense feeling that like her body is just not right and something could be happening with that. So they are tasked by like the guy in charge of the town to try and figure out what's behind these disappearances. It's a monster body horror book. It is just the descriptions on certain stuff just make you absolutely want to gag, but I really liked it. I liked the characters, I liked seeing Noon's journey, and I liked the cast of characters that she made friends with, and just the whole premise of using the idea of not fitting in your body and like a monster transformation as a metaphor for like not feeling like you fit in with like stereotypes of like what a daughter should be or what a girl should be and stuff like that. I think was really well done, and I can't recommend it enough. It's so good. It's just well done, and like I just love horror stuff like that where you put in like, again, monster transformation or something like that, something kind of monster that like is supposed to be bad, but that is the only time when like the person actually feels themselves, and it's not the monster necessarily it's bad, it's the people that want to do whatever with the monster that are bad. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really loved it. It's so creepy, it's so scary, and it's just so good. After that, I read Tilt by Emma Patty. This is a book I honestly probably would not have heard of had I not been trying to, again, be more aware of like different genre books and everything like that. So I initially saw it on like a list of like most anticipated books of 2025 that someone had put together, and I thought it sounded interesting. So then when I saw it, I was like, I'll grab it and give it a go. The basic premise is that it is about this woman who is 9 months pregnant at IKEA. She's trying to buy a crib for her baby, and this giant earthquake hits and just devastates the town. And she is now trying to get out of IKEA, find her husband, get home, and the whole book is just this day-long walk she has of trying to get from where she is back to civilization, and it's just kind of about the revelation she has as someone who is about to be a new mother and kind of figuring out all of that. Her marriage isn't great. The way it's set up is like what's happening in real time with a flashback to like when she met her husband, when she found out she was going to be pregnant, growing up, like all this kind of stuff to show you like how she's gotten to this point in her life. I wanted to like it more, I think, because I thought it was going to be more like disaster thriller and not necessarily so introspective, which is not bad, it's just not what I particularly was expecting. And I think for what I wanted it to be, it wasn't that. I feel like it's a lot of, no pun intended, but going around in circles of like her just trying to get to this one point to find this person. Then they're not there, so now we gotta go to this point and find this person, and they're still not there, and then we gotta go to this point and all that. And I do like books that kind of are condensed into like one day, one weekend or something like that, so I did like that, but I just feel like it got a bit repetitive after a while of, again, like she would set off for somewhere and you'd be like, all right, well, you're not going to find it because you haven't found them at the last 3 places, so I see where this is going. I do really like the setup, though, of it, of, like, showing where she is in the real world and then kind of going back to, like, her in college, her meeting her husband. Like, I think that was good to show you, like, her fears about where she is in life, about being a mother, about, like, bringing someone into this life when literally, like, there's an earthquake going on and you don't know what's going to happen next. So I think it was interesting, and I'd definitely be interested to see what else this author writes. I just think it was maybe not for me, and I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. Total 180 after that, I read Butcher and Blackbird, which, if you know anything about this book, you know is basically, yeah, the wildest book you'll ever read. So me and 2 of my friends this year, what we wanted to do was like a kind of book swap, book lend kind of thing, where we each pick a book and then we go through it and we each take our turns putting like little notes, putting just post-it stuff that like sticks out to us, highlighting things we like, quotes we like, stuff like that, and just writing like what we thought about it. So this was my friend's first pick. She's the first one up, and she picked Butcher and Blackbeard. I think the unspoken rules that we're kind of trying to do just absolutely wild books that'll make the other person like gaps. So she definitely nailed it with that one. I have to say, though, maybe it's because it was a book talk book, maybe it's because the premise sounds insane, but I was pleasantly surprised by this. Like, yes, it is wild, and there are parts where I'm like, that did not need to happen, but I really liked the characters, and the writing is really, really good. Like, I feel like sometimes with, like, book talk books, I read it and I'm like, but this one, it was, like, really engaging, really fun, really witty. Like, I really liked the characters. I think from the start what was really fun was that Sloane and Rowan were both so different from what I thought they would be. Like, I feel like Rowan I just assumed would be that, like, stereotypical, like, cocky kind of love interest of, like, blah, 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 blah. And instead, he's just so much more, like, introspective and nice and geeky almost, and I think that's really, really fun. And then Sloane, too, I think is so much more quiet than I thought she would be, and I just like that it's not like this, like, book full of, like, sarcastic barbs, blah, blah, blah. Like, they have good chemistry together, and I think the prospect of them, like, being killers is, like, such a second thing to, like, actually, like, the story of what's going on and everything. And I think I bought their relationship so well. Like, you literally felt like you were reading 2 people who are perfect for each other, and the fact that it took place over so many years so you could see that turn into, like, a friendship and then a relationship and all that. Like, I feel like it was just hook, line, and sinker. I bought it. It was just so cute. So I'm actually really, really excited to read the next 2 books in the series now, and I was just not expecting that at all. Like, I literally thought it was just gonna be one of these books that I was like, this is just written to be wild and to make people, like, have shock value. And I feel like there are things in there that I'm like, they don't need this. The ice cream, for example, did not need to be in there. But overall, I really liked it, and I'm excited to see, like, what the author is going to write outside of this series now that it's wrapped up, because I think they're a phenomenal writer, so I'm really, really excited to see what they come up with, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. After that, I really have to say, like, looking at these, this was my month where I was most, like, jumping around from genre to genre, because after that I didn't write this, I read Greenteeth by Molly O'Neill, which I just randomly found this at Barnes & Noble's. It was their speculative fiction book of the month, so it, like, had its little display, and I thought the cover was so cute, and then I picked it up, and the description being, like, this monster, this Jenny Greenteeth monster, who is from mythology, I just never heard of it, but she lives in this lake, and then, like, a witch gets thrown into her lake, and she's, like, supposed to eat her, I guess, because that's, like, what they do. But she's like, I don't want to eat her. I'm too full. So then they become friends. And I think that's just so, so adorable and sounded so fun. It's like a cozy fantasy, which is kind of just right for my jam. Like, I don't really like high fantasy where it's like you've got to learn all these names and these places and all that. Like, this took place in England, so it was, like, easy to understand. And it felt very, like, D&D-esque is how I described it. Like a D&D party of, like, you've got Jenny Greenteeth, who's, like, the monster. You've got the witch. And then they also meet Brackus, who is this goblin. And they kind of team up to go on this adventure to try and save Temperance the witch and the town that, like, Jenny's lake is on, their town, from this monster that's happening. The plot was a little, like, I just didn't like how it was laid out of, like, first we do this task, then we do this task, then we do that task. Like, there's literally a point where someone's like, you're gonna do 3 things and then I'll help you. And I'm like, that's the most basic plot ever. It's just, like, laying out, like, 3 things that you have to do and then completing them, coming back, getting your next one. So that was a little frustrating. But I think character-wise, these characters are so fun and so interesting, and I'm so excited to see what else Molly O'Neill writes because, like I said, just perfect kind of cozy fantasy level for me of like reading a D&D campaign, honestly, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. Alright, so then last up this month, I read a book that I have been meaning to read for a while. So I actually did get to one that's been on my like TBR pile in it for a while, and that is How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin. I love this book. I love this book. I love this book, and I actually made perfect timing with this because the next book in the series is like due to come out. Either it's already out or it's about to be out, and I am just so excited to read it. And everyone that like had got advanced copies of it was saying like the best thing to do is like read this book right before you read the second one because they're kind of connected. So I love that like I read this so recently that hopefully stuff will be fresh in my mind when I get to the second book. This one, however, is about a woman who got this fortune when she was young that basically she was gonna be murdered. So she spent the whole rest of her life trying to figure out these signs that she had been told that would start the impendingness, and kind of just became known as like the local kook because like she was just so paranoid about being murdered. Fast forward, she is killed, and her niece is called like right before she is killed and believes that this is a murder, and she's trying to piece together the clues that she can find from everything while also working with like what her aunt had given up in her journal and all these like clues and things she had kept track of over her years and years of life trying to solve it. And they work together essentially, even though the aunt's not alive, to try and solve this murder, and it's just so good. The setting is really fun. It's this town where there's all these characters that like grew up together, so essentially like you're kind of figuring out about them as they are now in the present day, but then also what they were like when they were growing up with the aunt and how different they were. Like the ones who were super serious and straightforward now could have been like the troublemakers back then, and it was just really fun to see it all come together. I'm excited because the second book is also kind of going to keep that forward theme going of like stuff that happened in the past is going to affect stuff that's happening now and try and solve the mystery together by putting those pieces all together. So it'll be interesting to see if she can pull that off again, because I don't also want it to become like tiresome of like, oh, we can't even get like all the clues because we don't have all the clues, you know? So I'm also really excited to see if anything's gonna happen with the detective because he was really cute, and I feel like he was being set up to be a love interest for Annie, so I'm really excited to see if that happens, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, there you have it. Those are all the books I read in March. I really enjoyed them, and like I said, I feel like it was such a good range of different genres, which is honestly what I've been trying to do for this year. So I'm really happy that I read so many different ones, because again, it makes it so like you read a really good mystery and then like you don't go right into a new mystery, so it's like you're comparing the old one in your mind. You read a good romance and then you're not worried about like the next romance you read right after that being as good as it and comparing it in your mind. So I really enjoyed my March reads, if you can't tell, and I would love to know what you read in March. Let me know down below in the comments if you have read any of these or if you're interested in any of them and what you thought about them, and also what you read and are looking forward to reading. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye!